jeez, Lewis. Yeah, I agree. And entirely inappropriate. You want the tweet action, though? I have no idea if we're actually live, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out shortly. Hopefully this one. Oh, you know what? Did the boom too early? We got to do it again. There we go. Okay. We're live, I think. Oh, man. It's working. I can't believe it.
Wow. It's the first American Pope.
I saw that.
From Chicago, of all places.
Yeah. You know what that means?
We're still winning.
Deep dish in the Vatican.
Oh, my God.
They probably don't have deep dish there. You know, it's an American thing. People think deep dish is Italian, Lewis. I don't think so.
Yeah, what does Italy know about pizza? Let's get some deep dish in there.
Got to get some deep dish.
Italian beef, too.
Oh, yeah? Oh, man. I went to a pizza place in Seattle recently with my wife, and they were known for doing deep dish, and I had heard that they were good. So I went there. And we got there, and first of all, the place is like outrageously expensive. So they have decided, this is just so typically Seattle. They have decided that they're not going to do tips or anything anymore. They just fold the 20% tip into the price of the pizza. So you don't have to tip. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay them anymore. They're going to just charge you 20% extra. So like the deep dish pizza was a 12-inch pizza was like, $185 or something like that. It was probably like $45. We didn't even get to try one because we got there and she's like, just so you know, it takes, 50 minutes to bake the deep dish pizza. And I'm like, 50 minutes? We don't have time to sit here for 50 minutes. So we did one of their thin crust pizzas, which were actually really good. But it was $44 for a 12-inch thin crust.
12-inch.
12-inch thin crust.
And that's
pizza.
is that with the 20%?
That was
lazy
everything.
bum surcharge?
Yeah, that didn't include tax, but it includes, the price of the pizza and then the tax they put on top of it or the tip that they put on top of it.
The automatic tip is it's antithetical to what a tip is all about.
It is literally antithetical to what a tip is all about. That is literally true. It's like to ensure proper service, right? And it's supposed to be a reward for people that do a good job. Back in my day, because I used to be a server, right? And people typically will tip you generously, but if you don't do a good job, something gets screwed up. They may not. Kind of good motivation,
Yeah. Wow.
I've stunned
Pope
you with
from Chicago.
my story. Okay. And Griffin's
more
sitting there
stunned by
silently,
the-
so
American Pope.
yeah, I know. I can't wait to read more about that after the show because we got a show to do here, Lewis. We got Level Remix in the chat. We got Mr. Hobbs. We've got Heights. He keeps it simple. Highway robbery. I'm appalled. He must be talking about that pizza price, Lewis. I'm telling you, man. You go in like the downtown, like Seattle corridor, not even downtown, but like any of the trendy neighborhoods. Better have like a couple credit cards. You have to split the bill into 2 credit cards to pay for that one. We got version 55.71. No idea what that means, and I don't want to know. And I think we're ready to start. We got quorum. The fact that we're even live here is an absolute miracle. We're using an all-new platform, and as you might have expected, we did absolutely zero testing until we went live just now. It seems to be working.
And it only took an hour to set up.
Yeah.
And the good news is it might take you an hour every single week because you're so excited about it.
Well, we'll have to dial that part in. But
Yeah, with practice, we could get it down to a cool 40 minutes.
yeah, hopefully. Oh, man. You want to know what platform we're using? Video.ninja. Cool platform, cool name. And it seems to be working. And it's free because, as many of you know, we were using Skype. And they retired Skype this week. And unfortunately, there's not a platform that does what Skype does. I mean, there's a lot of platforms that each kind of do what Skype does. But Skype had NDI tools built in, which is something that you need for our broadcast. And nothing had it. At least that I could find without going into some corporate, payment plan some kind of corporate platform, because I guess only corporations need those features. It's very weird. Anyway, PJ Ballum's here. He says morning from Oz. I think that means the prison. He snuck in a prison phone. And he's using his bandwidth to watch our show, which I appreciate because we need every viewer that we can get. Let's go ahead and queue up Mrs. D, and we'll get this thing rolling because we actually have a lot of stuff to talk about. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. In a great mood today. Oh, yes, my dear. I was also confined in a prison last night. Oh, boy. A prison of lovemaking. Okay. I don't know what that means, Lewis. Prison of lovemaking. It's like a room you can't leave? Like it unlocks itself after like 8 to 10 hours?
Does not sound appropriate.
Okay. Well, knowing her, it's definitely not. Mrs. D, we definitely don't want to hear any more about that. We got all sorts of Apple topics to talk about this week. And we have no idea if this show is even going to make it to the end because of the new platform that we're using. So we're just excited to see what happens. So if you don't mind, we'll get the music going. And we'll get this thing started in 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airfall Elijah. Join me today. You heard of the Vulcan neck pinch? Well, he's got his own move called the Wallace head pinch, where he puts his hands on both sides of a rider's head and squeezes until their eyes bulge out like the end of Total Recall. It's a serious but effective disciplinary tactic that keeps the riders typing and on task. He's the managing editor of CultCast. Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Just like your audio feed. Is it weird or what?
All right. Okay. Well, can't go back now. Also with us, some people like to use a fan as a white noise machine. He prefers the sounds of an Apple dot matrix desktop printer. That delightful just relaxes him, puts him right to sleep. He's a writer for CultCast. Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening. You know, it's not really the printer that's my favorite like ambient noise sound. I do really like the sound of like good old hard drive just like spinning up and whirring. Big loud
like
fan, an old computer. The silent but barely audible, irritating high-pitched hum of a CRT.
Oh man, I miss those days. Those were soothing sounds. And like the other one that the kids will never know and never experience, the white noise on a TV when the broadcast has ended, right? And there's just it's just picking up, I don't know, radio waves, but nothing.
How are science teachers in 8th grade going to explain the concept of cosmic background radiation if kids today don't understand TV static as a frame of reference?
Well, we're gonna have a lot fewer astronauts, that's for sure. Because how else can
That's true.
How else
That's
can
true.
they understand those topics? But it was cool. There were a lot of little analog things that you could enjoy.
One of my favorite old computers in my collection is like a TRS-80 I have. The power switch like is gigantic and it glows red when you turn it on.
Oh, that sounds safe.
That giant like, onto the switch, and then you hear the bzzz as it warms up.
Yeah.
We've lost these things.
I'm going to be honest. I think you should probably buy a Geiger counter and get that thing measured. That sounds incredibly dangerous.
It's a portable computer that weighs 20 pounds.
Yeah, so portable. Well,
Technically portable.
I mean, that is true. You could take it to Starbucks if you were so inclined. So we
I
are.
dare you.
In fact, if you do. The nice thing about our new platform is you can call in from your phone, dude. You can do the entire thing from your iPhone if you wanted to, because you could just load that link in your phone. So we are trying a brand new streaming platform. I am absolutely shocked that is working as well as it is. I mentioned before the show, we did absolutely zero testing except for like the 30 minutes before the show to get it configured. And so far, dude, it's working great. Like the picture looks good. The audio is all coming in. I mean, everything was piped in like right before the show. And so far, so good. But if we all disappear, or if Lewis just disappears, or if anything strange happens, well, that's why. But so far, so good. They retired Skype this week, which is what we were using. And I've been searching for other tools, but just nothing had the features that we need except for this arcane like web platform tool that we're using, which seems to be working great so far. Okay, look. This is not what you're here for. Maybe it is, actually. The banter is often better than the actual content itself. We got all sorts of great topics to talk about this week. Apple's prepping an all-new battery case for its new iPhone 17 Air. because the thing's going to be so slim that you only get 10 to 15 minutes of battery life. So you're going to have to buy a separate battery. It's going to be like that battery with the Vision Pro, actually. I'm calling it here first. You're going to have to carry that around with you. That will be in the small print. Like, the phone will be as thin as a credit card, and everyone will be so excited and impressed. And then what they don't show you until you dig into it is it has a wire that attaches to a battery pack you wear at your belt. We'll see what happens.
They should do the coiled wire like the old 70s real phones.
Yeah, that sounds nostalgic enough just to make the cut.
So awesome.
Will look great in a marketing ad too. Let's see here. We're going to talk all about upcoming updates to iPhone 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Well, if we run out of rumors, we'll just start making stuff up, and you guys can decide for yourselves what's true and what's not. That'll be fun. No,
Just like John Prosser.
Wow.
If you say his name, he's going to show up in the chat, so you got to be careful.
If you say it 3 times, he shows up in your room.
Yeah, that's right.
Right behind you on the screen.
Only as an apparition, though. It's like a mental projection. I hear he's into that stuff. So we're going to talk about plans for iPhone 17, 18, 19, as the title implies. I'll talk about the start. I don't know if anyone cares. Apple building AI search into Safari. I mean, that actually might be useful, but we'll see how it actually works. The devil's in the details, as they say. It looks like Apple's building server chips again. Does that mean we have a new Apple? What do they call that thing? Oh, God.
Xserve.
The Xserve. One of the businesses I worked at had one of those. God, that's such a distant memory. Like, Apple used to
The
make
PowerPC one or the Intel one?
I actually don't know. It was probably the PowerPC one. I think it was pre-Intel. Did they even make Intel Xserves?
They did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So yeah, it was definitely pre that. That's funny. It looks like Apple's getting into the Apple smart glasses game, and then we will wrap up again with your voicemails, assuming I can get this thing to work. Before we dive in, oh God, let's just pray that this works. I want to say thanks to all of you. Look at that. For supporting CultCloth.co. There's never been a better time to head on over to CultCloth.co and get yourself one of the best, most powerful, highly engineered, highly capable, premium grade cleaning cloths known to humankind, Louis, humankind. This thing is densely woven. It will absolutely eradicate the grease, grime, and grossness. I just made that up on the fly. See how easy this is? I've been doing this for so long. These things just come to me. On your phone, your Apple Watch, which for some reason mine is an absolute fingerprint magnet, my Apple Watch. It's just always gross. And I hate looking down and seeing the dingy screen, so I'd like to keep it clean. Your iPad, your glasses, your sunglasses. That's the other thing that I use these for most often. Also cleaning your Mac. I like to keep my Mac sparkling clean, my keyboard especially. The CultCloth is made with a special fiber that's broken down, which drastically enhances its cleaning capabilities, and then densely woven into premium grade cloths that work better than anything else I've tried. You can grab yourself some. CultCloth.co. Get one of the multi-cloth packs. You'll get our Clean Cloth Duo, which is our most popular one, and then it has a dual fiber design, which is good for cleaning screens and also really heavy like soiled stuff like keyboards and stuff. You'll also get a free carry cloth with orders, an extra carry cloth, I should say, with orders $20 plus. If you use code CultCast at checkout, CultCloth.co, CultCloth.co, use code CultCast at checkout. Let's dive into the first story. Who am I sending it to? It's going to Griffin. Let's talk about a battery case. I can't believe this is what we're leading with, but such is the state of the news. Let's take it away, Griffin.
Well, the information reports that the iPhone 17 Air, alongside that new product, Apple will again revive its smart battery case accessory. They never updated it to USB-C. It, I think, launched with the iPhone 12 because it was one of the first MagSafe devices, but it only ever had a Lightning port on the bottom. They might be bringing it back. This will make up for the iPhone 17 Air's apparent lackluster battery life. According to the report, the percentage of users who can go a single day without recharging the thin phone will be between 60 and 70%. For other models, the metric is between 80 and 90%, one of the people said. A smart battery case will help users make through a day of heavy use with ease. Ironically, while such a case will enhance the iPhone's battery life, It'll also add significant bulk back to the phone, potentially negating the iPhone 17 Air's slim design. A report also suggests that Apple will initially allocate only about 10% of its production capacity to the iPhone 17 Air. Apparently, the company is unsure about the slim phone's demand, despite its new form factor. And I'll say I'm excited for the 17 Air. I'm definitely going to be getting this one out of the new phones to review, because it's the first time that Apple's switching to like a different set of priorities and strategies for designing an iPhone than they've had for the last few years. Last few years of iPhones have all kind of felt the same. They've all kind of looked the same because they've all prioritized the same balance of cameras to battery life to size to thickness. You know, this one's going to be all new. This is the Johnny Ive phone, and they haven't made like a real Johnny Ive Apple product, that's going like full Johnny in a long time.
Oh, you never go full Johnny.
So thin it's almost useless.
Yeah. But you know what? It'll look really cool, and
Fantastic.
I'm excited to try it because I bet it'll feel really cool. And personally, I work from home. My iPhone is honestly on a charger probably 75% of its life. It just sits on a MagSafe charger at my desk or a MagSafe charger on my nightstand, and then occasionally it's in my hand when I'm actually using it, but not very often, honestly. I have it set to limit the maximum charging to 80%, which is I rarely ever need that extra 20% because again, almost the entire time it's just sitting on a charger. And you know what? It's been how long has it been? 9 months, 8 months, and my battery still is at 100% of its capacity. If I go and check
you
the
leave it
battery
charged, you leave it charging all day, but in the 80% orientation.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, because I do the same thing, but once it gets to 80%, if I'm sitting here, I will usually unplug it just to kind of preserve the battery from, or to not keep, leaving it sitting there trickle charging all day. But my problem is that because I do that, I have to charge my phone multiple times a day. I have to charge my phone at least two times a day.
It's that 80 to 100% range that's really hard on your battery. So if you just sit it on the charger, but then it can't go beyond 80%, then it's going to be much healthier. And that's really all you need to do.
All right, let me look at my
I set it to the 80% limit so that I could leave it on my MagSafe charger all the time and then not have to worry about it.
So I got my phone I started using it in September 2024. I have 207 battery cycles. How many do you have? But my maximum capacity is still at 100% because I leave mine at the 80% charge limit too.
279.
279. Wow.
Maximum capacity is 98%.
I'm at 182 cycles.
Okay. So let me bust out ChatGPT real fast.
Oh, jeez.
Why?
How many days has there been since when do you think these phones shipped? September
2024. You can just
Okay, let's just say September 1st.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go with September 10th. 2024. So we're going to do some math here. This is great radio. Oh, it's searching the rep. Okay, so it's been 240 days. Since then. Okay.
So I've only cycled my phone 75% of that time.
Yeah. I actually I'm surprised because I charge my phone a lot, but it's usually to get it from like 20% to 80%, right? It's like which is not a full cycle. So I would have guessed that my cycle count was more than one full battery charge a day, but I guess not. I'm actually quite a bit under. Lewis, you're over.
I use the phone a lot, man.
I thought I used my phone a lot.
I constantly have the phone with me. I'm sending text messages with it. I'm sending Slack messages with it, which explains a lot of things about my Slack messages probably. All the time, day in and day out. I always look down. It's down 50%. It's like, what the? I don't know. Not only that, but just this week, my wife is doing like, my phone's dying all the time. It's like just in the past couple of weeks, our phones have started to really. It's probably because our Wi-Fi is so screwed up.
Yeah.
That could be it, actually.
Bad Wi-Fi, bad cellular, that can really drain a battery. But all this is to say that I'd be a perfect candidate for the iPhone 17 Air because I don't like having a big bulky phone, and I rarely drain the battery at all. So I would get all the benefits and not really any of the downsides.
You set that sucker to 80%, you're gonna get like 12 minutes.
Well, 12 minutes is
unless
all
you
I
watch
need
a
it for.
video, then it's like 8 minutes. Yeah, dude. I mean, just having something that's new is gonna be a major big draw for me to want to buy it. But dude, I don't know. I feel like I'm already charging my iPhone enough throughout the day, and to have to do that even more often with a freaking slim phone, I just don't know, dude. We'll have to see what the battery life is for this phone. But
I'm also excited for them to bring back the smart battery because they never updated it, and they bring it back for the 17 Air, but any iPhone would be able to use it presumably, and that's an accessory that I think a lot of people miss.
Level Remix says he's got the iPhone 16 cycle count 92, and his battery
Wow.
capacity has dropped down to 99%. See, I think that actually makes sense. I believe that if you leave your phone at a higher charge state for too long, it degrades your battery more than charging it up to a higher state and then unplugging it and actually just using it. That's my understanding of it. We also got the $10 super chat from David Howard. He really wants us to answer this question. Well, we're not going to, David. Sorry, no, I'm just joking.
Wow.
He says, do you guys think the iPhone Air being so thin further sets Apple up to have a foldable phone that converts to an iPad mini type device?
Yeah,
I don't.
absolutely.
You think so?
Because they're practicing making a phone that's that thin, and eventually, to make a reasonable folding phone that isn't twice as thick as a regular phone, it has to be each half has to be half as thick. And so this is giving this is paving the way for that product.
I don't know, because that product is going to be so different. I mean, I suppose it's possible they're trying to figure out how to optimize a device to have as much battery power as possible with also having less battery present in it. But the foldable device is going to be so different, and it's going to have two panes, like two parts of it, like in the sandwich, that are going to be able to hold battery. I don't know that this device is going to help them to figure that stuff out. But in any case, anything else about the battery case? I think we should probably just move on and forget we ever talked about this. I'm not sure people care about the battery pack, but one thing seems certain: if you get the iPhone 17 Air, you're going to have a battery pack. And I suggested it's going to be the one that they use on the Vision Pro, just repurposed. It will go on your belt, and you can just wear that and have a cord, preferably a one of those coiled cords like Lewis likes, going up to your iPhone. That doesn't seem inconvenient, does it? Steve Jobs would totally let that go. He'd have no problem with that. All right, Lewis, let's talk about some other iPhone news. The big shakeup that
we might
sounds
be
like
in for a big change in the way that Apple does business. Usually Apple has the big one big iPhone launch every September, shows off all the new models, and then every couple of years it releases like a iPhone SE or iPhone 16e earlier this year. Well, supposedly starting in 2026, Apple might abandon that iPhone template. The information, once again, reports that Apple will launch the iPhone 18 Pro in the fall of 2026 alongside an iPhone Air and a foldable phone. The company would then delay the release of the regular iPhone 18 until spring of 2027. The staggered release would let them really showcase the Pro model and of course the foldable phone, which that'll be hopefully the show stealer, right? And might push Apple's revenues higher because of course the Pro, and I'm sure the Slim is probably going to be a fairly expensive phone, and I don't know, Slim or Air, everybody has. We still don't know what that's going to be actually called, but the Slim and the folding, the folder. I mean, geez, what are they talking, like 2,000 at least, right? That's going to be over the top expensive. That was before the tariffs. Let's see, and then so once they have those big high profile, high profit margin things, then they can release the regular one and the cheap one in the spring, and hopefully get a little bit of juice out of that as well. Very exciting. Very exciting. It would be weird, wouldn't it, to have like the iPhone 18 Pro come out in the fall and the iPhone 18 come out 6 months later?
That would be so strange. But it would be better for our show.
It makes sense though. I mean the kind of people who are buying an iPhone as soon as it comes out in September are the people who are more interested in the Pro ones. People who don't pay attention to the iPhone release cycle, they just buy whatever the phone is whenever they need a phone, and they don't pay attention. They don't really care. They don't really pay attention. So having two announcements throughout the year not only gives them more, mind share in the news cycle overall, but it also probably raises the average selling price per unit in the fall release, because if they don't have the iPhone 18 at the same time that they have the iPhone 18 Pro, then more people are going to be tempted to buy the Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be a bummer to buy
One of-
something
one of
and
the
have it be
across
like
the board.
outdated like 6 months later. I hate when that happens.
One of the
It would
things
be
that
weird
I saw was,
announcing the 18 Pro at the same time that they still have the 17 for
Yeah.
sale.
Yeah.
one of the things I saw was like, oh well, these other companies release 2 phones a year, so Apple kind of always feels a little behind or something. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I think it's going to seem weird if they release an 18 Pro in the fall, and then in the spring, here's the iPhone 18. It's going to sound bizarre. Maybe they would ditch the numbering system or something. I mean, it just sounds really kind of nuts, doesn't it?
I'm most worried about the price of all this stuff. These tariffs are no joke, man. And I forgot what the title of the report was, but wasn't there a report out this week that the tariffs were going to end up costing Apple like $900 million or something extra for phones?
That was from the earnings call last
Okay,
week. Tim
that's
Cook
from the
said,
earnings call.
yes, that in response to one of the questions, he said, yes, in the upcoming quarter, they expect the tariffs to cost Apple $900 million. And they said, we can't provide any guidance beyond that. I mean, they don't do that anyway, but they said because there are certain things impacting that quarter that make the impact of the tariffs less. So like 900 million minimum problem.
'Cause that's for the summer quarter before the iPhones. And they're
Right.
saying it's going to impact them 900 million.
And-
Now, $900 million is a big number, but compared to their average revenue of like $95 billion, it's a drop
well,
in
it's
the bucket.
it's
but
about
still.
1%.
Yeah.
But they, they supposedly shipped in a whole bunch of product before the tariffs even were put in place, right? So that's one of the mitigating factors for this next quarter is, this stuff already was here. So, but I don't know how much you're going to talk about this, but they're making big changes to their supply chains.
Oh yeah.
The latest thing that this is also from the earnings call. They're saying that they hope to have all of the iPhones sold in the United States produced in either
India, right?
India and I think Vietnam, or actually not just iPhones, but all products. They don't want to sell Chinese-made products in the United States because the tariffs are so much higher on China. So they're trying to move all of that to these other countries. They'll still make iPhones for the rest of the world in China, but they want to take their U.S. allotment not from China.
Okay.
Which is, can you imagine the headache? My head starts spinning just thinking about it. Like trying to like change your entire supply chain to a different country so that.
Oh my gosh. And it's not going to happen fast. And I was thinking about this last night actually. I was watching a review of this product called the Eufy Make. The Eufy Make. So like Eufy is, I think, an anchor company, right?
Yeah.
And they're a Chinese company, to my understanding. And they have made this product called the Eufy Make. It is a desktop UV printer. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know anything about UV printers. I don't even know why this thing popped up on my feed, to be honest with you. But UV printers use UV light and the special ink to cure the ink in real time, and it's able to print on like a plethora of materials: wood, metal, glass, you name it. And the print quality is like out of this world vibrant and looks so amazing. And you can print your own pictures on canvas and stuff. And there's a guy, I think his channel name was called Laser Printing 911. I'm like, his whole channel is just dedicated to like these obscure printing methods. And the guy's like 50,000 subscribers. I'm like, this is crazy. This is just the power of YouTube right here. But anyway, I'm watching this printer, and he's showing all the accessories that come with it, how you can like use it to like print on mugs, and it will like self-level the mugs to like create a flat surface so we can print on the circumference of the mug and all this self stuff that it does. And I was like thinking to myself, this is not going to happen in the US. Like, I'm sorry. These machines are not going to be built here anytime soon. I would love to see, don't get me wrong, I would no one would love to see manufacturing come back to the U.S. more than me. Well, that's probably not true. Trump probably does. But I think it's really cool to move manufacturing back here and to make and sell things to other countries. I think that's great. But it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It's not going to happen in a year. Like, when you see the quality of this product and, like, the things that are being made in China, like the industry that they have that enables these things to be made and the expertise that's needed and the factories and everything, this is going to be a long slog to be able to move that kind of thing here. And I just don't think it's going to happen quickly. And I just can't imagine, to your point, Lewis, like the astounding effort it's going to take to move these massive operations and expertise from one country into other countries. And just think about all the investment that Apple has made into Foxconn and these factories to have specialized equipment and to train the people on how to use the equipment and maintain the equipment. I mean, it's like, 30 years of work, right? How do you move 30 years of work from one country into another? I'm sure they'll figure out something, ingenious. But just watching this review, I was like, oh no, this is not coming here anytime soon. Like, this thing is like, first of all, this is a really cool product. By the way, this printer, I guess UV printers are very expensive or have been very expensive, and there has been like this this trend of companies like Eufy and other companies making products that are typically only available in the commercial realm available to consumers. This UV printer, I would say it's one. It can also do like 3D printing, so it can create like 3D designs where it has like a texture to it, and it's almost like a combination of like a 3D printer and like an actual like inkjet printer at the same time, so it can create like a 3D shape and then use color to color that shape. It's amazing. But I was watching reviews on, don't ask me why I was doing all this stuff, on the company Ninja. Have you guys heard of the Ninja? They make all sorts of like appliances and stuff. They made a couple of machines that have gotten really popular and are completely novel. One is like your own slushy machine called the Ninja Slushy. Have you guys heard of this thing?
No.
I've never tried it, but people love this thing. Like, it's so highly reviewed, the Ninja Slushy. So, it does exactly what you think. It's a machine where you like put in different liquids and it will literally make you slushies or margaritas or whatever. And apparently it makes really good drinks. People love this thing. And then the other machine that they recently came out with was called the Ninja Creamy. So it's like this machine that you can just put a ton of ingredients into to make your own ice cream. That got really popular. People have loved it. And then they released a new version.
And nobody on their marketing team stopped them from calling it the Creamy.
Hey, look, whatever works, right? I mean, they called it the iPad. Remember that when that happened? And I remember how much we clowned on that. So then Ninja came out with a new version of their Ninja Creamy. Ninja called the Ninja Creamy. Oh, God, what was it called? Swirl.
Creamier. Oh, the swirl.
The Ninja Creamy Swirl. So like this machine adds the ability to like have like those handles on those soft serve machines, and so
oh my God,
you can make like ice cream with it, and then you put the ice cream into like this giant compressor, and it will actually make you like swirled ice cream. I was trying to convince my wife that we needed one of these because I was like, you guys, my kids especially, they're always eating treats that my wife has made herself, and I'm like, this is perfect. Like you can like put milk and peanut butter and blueberries and all this other stuff in this machine, and it will literally make you your own soft serve machine, and it's highly reviewed. People seem to really love this thing, and it's cool, like fun to be creative with it and stuff. Anyway, I wasn't expecting to go on a tangent,
until version 2. You gotta wait for the Creamy 2. That's when they'll have 2 different colors swirled.
Oh
with
yeah,
the one color, it's not nearly as interesting as the 2 different colors.
That's true. Maybe you could make the ice cream in such a way that it would come out swirled. I don't know, man. But anyway, all that to say, there's all these machines being created, and all of this industry is coming out of China, right? And like, if you move this stuff out of China into India or these other countries, I just don't know that they're prepared to innovate in these ways. Certainly not here in the U.S.
I mean,
not
let
anytime
me
soon.
put it this way. In 2017, when Nintendo came out with the first version of the Switch, it cost $300, and they just introduced the Switch 2 at like $450. 2017 was also the year that Apple introduced the iPhone 10 at $999, and the the iPhone 10, eventually like the iPhone whatever Pro, has always been $999 ever since, and that price has not gone up. And eventually they had the big one at $1,200, and used to be $1,100, but they got rid of that price point. But that is to say, like, they haven't adjusted the prices of the Pro phones in as much time as Nintendo has had the original Nintendo Switch at $300, and look what happened there. So brace yourself.
Yeah,
for September.
I don't know. I mean, I point taken. I think that Nintendo had a lot more space for a price increase because when
They're the only console company that actually makes money on the console and doesn't, artificially lower it and make it up through the games afterwards. Nintendo is
they
the only,
do that too, but yeah,
compared to Xbox and PlayStation, they actually make a profit on the hardware, so they have margins there to play with.
and Nintendo, I don't think was expecting the Switch to be as hugely popular as it is, and that console has, well, I think it's one of the most popular consoles of all time, and the Switch 2 being so hotly anticipated, I think it's going to sell just fine. I think the Switch was probably underpriced. They probably could have raised the price a lot and actually kept selling it really well. I don't know that Apple can do that. Like, can you charge $1,500 for a base iPhone? No way. I don't think you can.
Well, they would say that's not the base iPhone, that's the Pro iPhone.
Okay, well, sure. But the base model of the Pro phone, if they gave you nothing new and they just said, hey, the price is going from $999 to $1,200, I think $1,200 might be the threshold. I mean, that would be a big increase, but you might be able to pull that off. But $1,500, no way. $1,400, I don't think so, man. I mean, you can only go so far before people just start changing their buying behavior.
My guess is Pro iPhone at $1,200 and big iPhone at $1,500.
You might be right about that. I hope you're not. But
painful part of the September prediction game when we get there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in the meantime, let's move on. We got some other stuff to talk about. Man, I have just been absolutely loving. I've been weaving AI tools into a lot of my workflows and just trying to force myself to like learn and use this stuff. And actually, I've really kind of fallen in love, to be honest with you. I could probably do a whole episode on like all the stuff I'm using and how I'm using it and why I'm using it and the cool stuff that you can do with AI. And the more I use it, the more I realize this is going to be ubiquitous, especially once AI becomes agentic, which is the word they use to qualify or to describe AI that is autonomous. Right, so like AI right now, for the most part, you have to go and interact with, and it just remains like on that page or in that app. And like when you leave, it's not doing anything for you. That's going to change, and it's going to change really soon. And AI is going to go autonomous, and it's going to be able to go do complex tasks for you without your intervention, without your involvement, and then come back to you with results, or not come back to you at all and just go do its thing. It's going to actually be able to replace human effort in a lot of different ways. That's a whole other tangent I won't go into now, but Apple is considering building AI search into Safari. So,
wait. Before we get to it,
did I miss a story?
Over the iPhone 18 Air story?
Did I skip it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's only a problem because it's advertised in the heading and everything, right?
Yeah. Well, let me pause then. And Lewis, let's do this iPhone 18 Air story
it's
first.
Just like a little bit more detail about the after they change up their strategy of launching things, whatever. So then after that report comes out, Ming-Chi Kuo, one of our favorite analysts, goes on and comes out with a thing basically saying, here's when all the different iPhone models are coming. And so what he says is in the second half of 2025, that's this year, we will get iPhone 17 Pro Max, iPhone 17
that's
Pro.
That's top tier analysis right
iPhone
there.
17 Slim, which is what he calls the Air.
Yeah,
it's great, isn't it? And the iPhone 17. Then first half of 2026, iPhone 17e. So he says that yes, in fact, the E version phone is going to be on a yearly yearly release schedule. Second half of 2026, foldable iPhone 18 Pro and Max, and iPhone 18 Slim. So he's saying that that's also going to get a annual release cycle. And then in the first half of 2027, that's when we'll see the iPhone 18, the regular iPhone 18, and the iPhone 18e. And then in the second half of 2027, iPhone Foldable 2, which he says is already kicked off. I don't know exactly what he means by kicked off, but I mean, apparently they're going to try and do that every single year too. iPhone 19 Pro and Max, iPhone 19 Slim with a larger display. So anyway,
you got that, everyone?
A little bit boring, right?
Line chart.
Basically, he's just confirming that they're going to do these big models in the fall, and then the basic models in the spring.
Oh, okay.
And
6 phones a year, every single year, 6 new iPhones.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that they would
Wow.
just keep pushing these out. Especially, well, we'll see. We'll see what the demand is for the Slim, right? Or the Air. By the way, which one do you think is going to be, Air or Slim?
I think they're going to go with Air.
Yeah.
It's,
Air is a name they've used
yeah,
before.
exactly.
Makes
It's
sense to
already
me. Slim
established.
sounds weird.
Not unless you're
iPhone
Slim Shady.
I mean,
Maybe
especially
they're doing
'cause
collab with
see, I thought
Eminem,
it's Slim
yeah.
Jims.
or that. Maybe they're doing a collaboration with Slim Jims. It's going to be the Slim Jim branded iPhone.
World's first processed meat. Actually, maybe the smart battery will be covered with, processed meat.
Or maybe the battery is actually also edible. And so when the battery life has been completely depleted, you can actually just eat it. How about that?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Well, waste not, want not, Lewis. All right.
Anyway, we promised people we had 2 years or 3 years
yeah.
of iPhone. So there it is.
I would be remiss to not cover this one since we literally called it out in the headline and in the tweet. And when people see the tweet go out, if we don't cover the thing in the tweet, we're in big trouble, Lewis.
Gotta deliver
trouble.
the goods.
Oh, right. Well, let me pivot back to Apple building AI search into Safari. So I thought this was actually quite interesting. Our old good
That was
pal.
quite interesting when I added it to the show notes 5 minutes before we went live.
And then I read it. Yeah, I was like,
okay.
I can see why you did that.
Behold the sausage.
I prefer not to. I like to go extra sausage, if you know what I'm saying. Actually, I don't even know what that means, so I'll leave it to you to determine. All right, let's move on quickly. Apple Services chief Eddie Q, yes, he still works there. Said usage of Safari's search function declined last month, the first time that's ever happened, according to a report from Bloomberg. Now, that line is interesting to me. So the search function has declined for the first time ever. And the reason that's interesting to me is because I no longer use Google search or any search engine for that matter. That is an antiquated way of finding results. I know that's strange to say. Maybe for those of you not using any kind of AI tools, that doesn't seem like something that would interest you. But the reason that's been true for me is because what these tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity do, they go do the searching for you. And instead of searching one site or two sites and you sitting there and reading through everything, they go search 20 sites. And then they bring you back all the results, and they compare the results and show you the different or help you do the analysis that you're trying to do, and they synthesize all that information and just show it to you. And so it's way faster than search. It's way more efficient than search. It's a really great way to get an answer quickly rather than having to go get the answer yourself. Like, this is one of the things that you can use AI in your life for right now, is replacing search. And so Apple's seeing this and they're like, oh shoot, what's going on? Well, people are using search less because they're using like these AI tools to do the search for them. So Apple's being smart. They're actively looking at building AI search into Safari, probably delivering results in the way that Google does it now. I don't know if you've done a Google search recently. Well, at the very top are AI results. It's trying to aggregate results from multiple websites into one answer for you. I don't think Google does it very well. I think that ChatGPT does it much better. I think Perplexity does it much better. And if you haven't tried those tools, you can use them for free. You might as well. And they have apps. So, I mean, I've gotten to the point where I literally keep ChatGPT open on the Cult Commander just in case. Like, if there's an answer I need quickly, I can just pop in and get it real fast.
The timing is really perfect because right around the time that the Department of Justice is questioning Google's like $20 billion a year deal to pay Apple to be the default search engine, right around the time that, the Justice Department is trying to break up Google and stop that deal, the question is like, oh, well, who else is going to pay Apple $20 billion a year to be the default search? Well, suddenly this is a brand new industry rife with billions and billions of dollars to spend to whoever will take their money just to become the next new leader. Well, like, yeah, they could not have threaded that needle any more perfectly.
No kidding. I wonder if Apple is going to try to become their own ChatGPT, right? Or if they're going to just outsource that to some kind of AI platform like they have been outsourcing search to Google and just make the money from it, right? Because they could build their own thing. And I know that Apple likes to build their core technologies in-house. And I don't know if this is core enough for them. I mean, it seems like it would be Apple Intelligence. It seems like it's going to be pretty important to their business going forward. But they are currently integrated pretty tightly with ChatGPT for things that Apple Intelligence can't do, which is most things. And so I don't know if they're going to continue that partnership. And I just saw a story this week that ChatGPT is angling to become – this is hilarious. What I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during this marketing meeting. They're trying to become the de facto AI resource for all democratic countries. I'm like, what does that even mean? I don't know. And it sounds like gobbledygook to me, and a strange goal, and I'm not sure how you pursue it. But maybe they'll end up having some kind of partnership with Apple. I mean, they already have partnerships with Apple to a certain degree, so I'm curious to see how this gets executed. But the best part of this,
scraping the entire internet to the depth that Google has costs a lot of money, and outsourcing it and letting other people pay you a lot of money makes you a lot of money. So I think it's a pretty easy
$20
decision
billion,
for Apple
dude,
there.
$20 billion for doing nothing. For doing nothing but allowing them to connect to your API and be
to have one engineer set the default value of a plist in settings to be Google
That's
instead
right.
of
He's literally setting a one line of code, and that's it. And it's like the default is this, and like that's what happens. I know it's more complicated than that. The best part about this story was this comment from Eddie Q. Quote, "You may not need an iPhone 10 years from now, as crazy as that sounds." Now, the context of this statement was he was thinking that AI is going to replace even iPhones and you won't need them anymore. I kind of laugh. Maybe he's right. I don't want to have a Balmer moment here, but I don't think that's going to be true. I think people will always want to have a handheld screen. I don't think that will ever not be true because it's hard. But what I've noticed in my own life, and I think this is kind of like universally true, is it's hard to interact with a computer if you can't see what it's doing on a screen. Having a conversation with like Siri or, any of those other assistants, when it's like sitting there waiting for you to say something, to go do something, it's almost like you get performance anxiety. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really know what to say. I don't really know how to say it. How should I phrase this? Is my ums and ahs going to screw this up? It's just so much easier to have some kind of like input method, like your finger or a mouse or whatever, and to see what you have on a screen and interact with it that way and not want to talk to this thing. So that could change once
Siri can actually interpret what you're saying.
Well, there is that. But once they integrate it with AI, it's going to be an inflection point for Apple. I hope that happens soon because that's obviously a huge problem. But, the kind of language, I don't want to go on too much about this because I feel like I've already gone on too long about like AI stuff, but like just using it as much as I have been, the complicated language it's able to understand is mind-blowing. Like the stuff that it can do, and then you use Apple Intelligence and it's like, I can make an image from a cartoon world of myself wearing a wizard hat. It's like once Apple is fully integrated with some kind of like language model that can understand human speech, because they have AI right now that can translate virtually all languages into virtually any other language in real time. So Apple just needs to connect to these things or build their own systems that actually work, and that's going to make Siri much more useful, but it just kind of really illustrates how far behind Apple is. Okay, look, we're running long. Holy moly, how long have we been live?
Well, we haven't actually been live that long because we spent literally an hour trying to set up the show today.
That is true. All right, Griffin, let's talk about server chips. This makes me want fish and chips. And then we'll talk about the smart glasses, and then we'll wrap up with voicemails. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
So, as we've mentioned before, actually, I don't know if we've talked about it too much on the show, but there was a story a while ago detailing that how Apple designs their products now is they design the chips first, and they also design and they know what products they're going to go into as they're designing the chip. And so they have the incredibly long lead times on these things, because chips take 5 years or more to develop, but they know exactly what products they're going to make out of them. And it's the whole beauty and unity of Apple Silicon making both the chips, the hardware, and the software. Well, the new AI server chips I guess I should back up. The new chips that Apple is making are going to be these all-purpose chips that they can put in both servers and smart glasses in the future. The new AI server chips will be a first for Cupertino, designed specifically for AI tasks that will, quote, help process Apple Intelligence requests remotely and feed information to consumers' devices, the report said. Today, Apple manages this task with the same chips it puts in high-end Macs, including the M2 Ultra. But supposedly this new chip that they're developing is going to power new server farms, their own bespoke server farms, and they'll be bigger and badder and better than what they currently offer. The report added the AI server project would use a component developed with Broadcom, according to the information, without specifying what that component is. So I don't know why I put that in the show notes, but we'll move quickly along. The project, which is codenamed Ultra, will most likely produce amazingly powerful chips before its completion by 2027. This may include different types of processors, with ones up to 8 times the processing and graphics cores found in today's supercharged M3 Ultra. 8 times the number of cores in the M3 Ultra.
Wow.
So here's my theory. They're designing these new server chips with this incredible amount of power. What if that is also the new Mac Pro chip?
8 times the cores? I don't know, man. I mean, I know these things are efficient in power, but that sounds like it's going to draw like 1,500 watts.
Yeah, that would be,
Desktop
it sounds
nuclear
like it would be a real pro computer.
I mean, that much is, I feel like we've transcended pro into godly. It's like God tier at that point, right? It's like, I don't know that there's any application except for maybe a few or 5 that would ever take advantage of that much horsepower.
I mean, the whole problem with the Mac Pro is that, they're reusing the same chips, and the Mac Pro is so low volume that Apple doesn't care enough to dump all the R&D money to developing a new chip because it'd be expensive to fabricate and hard to engineer and all that. But if they're building the chip anyway,
yeah,
why don't they just make the computer, make a Mac Pro that is actually pro? 8 times the power of the M3 Ultra? That would be insane.
I mean, yeah. I don't even know what you would do with such a machine besides bend space and time and create wormholes. But even if they only used like the nerfed versions, like the versions where the cores didn't all work, so they just deactivated.
Yeah, only 6 times as powerful.
Yeah,
as
only
the
6
M3
times
Ultra.
as powerful, right? Exactly. Then maybe, but I mean, I guess prepare your chest cavity for the sticker shock when you try to add that upgrade. It's like, would you like to upgrade to 6 times the cores? It's only $45,000. But if you're a corporation or you're like Lucasfilm
or John Siracusa
or him, and you do things that actually would save human effort by all those extra cores, then I mean it's kind of a no-brainer, right? If you could spend $45,000 on something that saves you $500,000, that's obviously a good buy for a company. So, all right, well you said it here first. We'll see what ends up happening with that. Let's talk about smart glasses.
Yeah, on the other end of the spectrum, Apple's still looking into smart glasses. I think we heard previously that this is like apparently the only product that Tim Cook is like adamant about. Let's see, quote, the company has made progress on the chip that it's developing for smart glasses. According to people with knowledge of the matter, the move indicates Apple is ramping up work on such a device, which would compete with the popular Ray-Ban spectacles offered by Meta. This will apparently be a very different product from the Vision Pro, which is a full wearable computer that surrounds and encompasses your head, which uses a M series chips in it. For its smart glasses, Cupertino supposedly envisions a much simpler device that uses a chip similar to ones used in the Apple Watch. Beyond that, the processor in development has allegedly been scaled back even farther to increase battery life for the smart glasses. Still, it would need enough processing power to handle the multiple cameras that will be built into it, as well as Apple Intelligence. And also, as Bloomberg reported on Thursday, quote, the company aims to begin mass production of the processor by the end of next year or in 2027, indicating that the glasses are likely to come to market roughly in the next 2 years. So this is another like stepping stone product and evolution of the Vision Pro category. Like, yeah, how do you make a lighter weight one? And I've always said like projecting 10 years from now, a future version of the Vision Pro that's going to be more powerful and more capable and might actually have an operating system that you can do like more kinds of work on might be like a replacement for, an iPad Pro or a MacBook Air. And the lighter weight one would, be more like the Apple Watch, like the one that's more comfortable doesn't do as much, but you can wear it everywhere you go. And the Ray-Ban specs are pretty popular. Like they
That's what
pretty
I
much
keep
only
hearing, and I never see them, or at least I never notice them. And I don't. I mean, having loaded all the features here in ChatGPT, I'm like, I don't see anything here that would make them something I would be interested in. But I keep hearing that they're popular. I'm like, are they actually popular, or is that AstroTurf? I'm not sure.
they're pretty much just like the speakers, so that you don't have to wear earbuds, and the camera. But
Oh, okay.
something simple that just does those two things, but does them really well, and it's comfortable enough for people to actually wear all day long. That's all it takes. Like the problem with the Vision Pro, yeah, it's a great product, but there's just that imagined tension of like, it's hard to put on, and then it's a big, it's there's the friction to getting you to put it on in the first place that makes you not feel like you want to use it too often. And making something lightweight that people don't mind, that you don't look like a weirdo wearing, and also probably does not cost $3,500. That's what it takes to make a volume product.
Now, it's interesting. I mean, hearing you describe why people might like these, I had a product from Soundcore. It's the Anker, the Anchor company, Soundcore, called the Soundcore Frames. I don't even think they sell these things anymore. But they were essentially just sunglasses that had built-in speakers, so you could stream stuff to them. Dude, I loved them. In fact, I still wear them all the time. I don't even use the audio stuff anymore. But they were just such great sunglasses because the stems were where all the technology lived, and then the front part where the glasses were like interchangeable. And they were actually super high quality sunglasses. In fact, people ask me all the time, like, what kind of sunglasses are those? Just because they're cool and they're well made. Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore, but they were really useful because you could just stream music, just to your sunglasses without having to put AirPods in your ears. And eventually, I just kind of stopped using them just because the battery life was kind of starting to degrade and stuff. But so now I kind of see it. It's like, okay, if you get yourself a pair of like Meta frames or whatever they're called, and they stream music, and then they also take pictures and maybe some video and stuff. I don't know how much they cost. Let's see here. What are they called? They're called the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. Let's look. Okay, so they're not. Oh wait, those are not it. So they are kind of expensive. They're $330. That's a lot. Oh, and they have another pair that's $380. There's different kinds. Yeah, it's a lot.
$299.
I guess it depends on which pair you get. Yeah, I still don't get it. $300 for these. I'm like, really? Huh? I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me know, chat. What am I missing? I don't get it. I should probably try them before I bash them, but for that price, I don't see that they do anything that I would actually be interested in.
I mean, AirPods Pro cost like what, $270?
Yeah, but those are AirPods Pro.
If you get them on sale.
Well, it's like
these are also headphones, and they're a camera, and they're sunglasses that look like name brand, like Ray-Ban glasses.
I mean, I guess that is part of it. Is you're getting a nice pair of sunglasses. I do actually really like Ray-Bans. They're like my sunglasses of choice. Even though they're way overpriced because everything is made by Luxottica. Like every pair of sunglasses you've ever bought is probably made by Luxottica, unless you buy them from Costco. In any case, all right. I think that's it, right? We've sufficiently flogged that one. I don't need to go on a Luxottica tangent. Should we move into voicemails? First of all, let me just say, dude, this new video solution we're using, working great. I can't believe how good this is using. In fact, I feel like the video actually looks better than it did before. So if you're interested in ever watching us do the CultCast live, watch.thecultcast.com, watch.thecultcast.com. We typically do it between 12 and 1 p.m. Eastern time, Pacific time on Thursdays. I wish I could give you an exact time, but I never know. I just never know. We never know what's going to happen.
Things get in the way.
Yeah,
we've been
life
trending
happens.
a little later the last few weeks,
especially today. But if you want to watch the reruns or the video on demand, I think it's oh wait, no. If you want to watch it live, it's live.thecultcast.com. Live.thecultcast.com. If you want to watch reruns or old episodes, watch.thecultcast.com. There you go. Now I got it. Okay. So let's go ahead and boot up some voicemails. We're not going to make it through all these. If y'all want to send us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/CultCast. Speakpipe.com/CultCast. I think before I said the CultCast, it's actually just /CultCast. But we have a link in the show notes too, so you can just click that. You can leave a voicemail directly from your phone in Safari. Super easy to do. Try not to make it go on too long. Nothing inappropriate. Otherwise, we got to block your IP address forever and send Lewis to your house to break your thumbs and stick them up your nose. And the other thing is, what's the deal with the handling noise, people? Try to keep the handling noise to a minimum. Like, don't call us on your run and try to do your voicemail then. Try to get in a quiet room. Tell your kids to zip it and do your voicemail, not in the bathroom while you're making a deuce. I mean, let's use some common sense here, people.
Surely that didn't happen.
I shouldn't even say these things, so they just encourage people to do all the things I just said. Okay, this one comes from Eric. Let's see what Eric has to say.
Hey, Airfon and crew. I just wanted to say, drop you a message.
Hi, Airfon and other guys. What's up, Eric?
And say thank you so much for so much of the great entertainment. Man, I've been listening to you guys for well over a decade.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's wild.
It goes back, but it has to be over a decade. And Thursday's always a great day when you guys drop a new show. It
or Friday.
Really is. I look forward to it. I know a lot of people in my life that look forward to it.
That's great. Thank you.
You guys are doing great work, and you should be congratulated on that. I can't imagine how hard it is to get it going every week. I can't imagine.
You know what? He's right. It is hard. Showing up, staring at these same old faces every single week, having to deal with Lewis's crap day in, day out. But we do it. We do it for the fans.
Imagine. We're all busy schedules, and it's incredible, and we all appreciate it. Should be said more. I also appreciate you guys not going political, man. I can't take it I unsubscribed to probably 5, 6, 7 podcasts in the past few months because it could be about anything. It could be about Beanie Babies, man. Beanie Babies. It could be about Beanie Babies, and all of a sudden it turns into a political podcast, commentary.
You know who loves Beanie Babies? Let me tell you. I'm just joking.
What's happening in the world, and you guys keep it right in the money. You keep it in the lane, and that's very important. It's just so rare these days. So thanks so much. Keep it up. We're listening.
Oh, wow. Jeez. I was expecting like a question in there somewhere, not just, a minute and 11 seconds of gratitude. So thank you for that, Eric. The one thing I'll say is we really do try hard not to be political on this show. We all have our opinions on things, and you could probably guess what our opinions are because they kind of sneak out in certain ways. But I really love like talk shows of old, like the Johnny Carson show, and he would have people of all different walks of life on, and he just talked to them about their common interests and never brought in politics. And I always like that too. I don't need to hear about, who your congressional choices are on my deep dish pizza podcast, right? It's like, and I feel like politics has kind of encroached into everything in our lives. And I don't know if it's always been this way or if I'm just older and it seems like I pay attention to this stuff more, but I'm with you, man. I think that people need to stay in their lanes and not think that because you listen to them for one topic, you want to hear their opinions on everything. Now, that being said, it's kind of tricky because I would love us to talk about other things aside from just Apple stuff. Probably not politics, but I wouldn't mind talking about movies. I wouldn't mind talking about other tech. I wouldn't mind talking about other topics like AI and stuff. And so I do want to kind of branch out and do other stuff, but it's hard because we have built our show upon a specific platform and topic. And so at some point we would like to kind of branch out. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anything to add on that before we move on?
The Speakpipe voicemail messages is a great avenue for that. Whatever our audience is interested in, you can ask us a question on that topic.
That actually is totally true.
What we have to say about it. Yeah,
that's true. And we've talked about that before. And I do love that. Like, and I'm kind of hoping, I would actually love for this show to turn more into, how how do I describe this? I would love to branch out into other topics based upon the things that you all want to leave us voicemails about, which could lead us anywhere. And my favorite topics, at least, well, I was going to say at least in the last, year or two, but I would say probably historically for the entire length of the show, have always been the things that we didn't expect to talk about. Like, that's always when I'm having the most fun. And it's kind of like car talk, where you're listening. Well, they're talking about cars as like the main topic of the show, but it's really just an excuse to talk about other stuff. And I would love to see us kind of go that direction at some point. All right, let me see. This one is from attempt number 2 from Paul. Ignore prior. Because his previous 2 attempts didn't work.
All right, everybody knows the easy wins for the Vision Pro. I call it the cost, comfort, content triangle. Get more immersive content, get the cost down, get the eyes off of the front of it to lower the cost further, make it more comfortable, make it lighter weight. Easy wins, right? But what if Apple did something else that I think they would be particularly well suited to do? What if they did simulated gaming, or simulators, I guess, right? So Apple already has in the App Store X-Plane a ton of flight simulators. They have a bunch of racing simulators. I'm pretty sure somebody in the executive suite is into racing sims as well. Apple Vision Pro is so well suited as a device that, you would stay seated, particularly for these types of things. Imagine if you could just look around the cockpit of an aircraft or of a race car or whatever and just simulate. It's like a sophisticated kind of gaming that I really think Apple could niche down on and really dominate, because a lot of the simulators on the market hardly really have any VR support at all.
This is something I really want. So one of the top video games that I play is, of all things, Asphalt 8 Airborne, which is kind of like a completely generic,
Asphalt 8?
not a very good racing game, but it's on Apple Arcade, and the Apple Arcade version is great because it doesn't there are no in-app purchases and all that. But I play that on my Mac, occasionally on my Apple TV for funsies. And you know what? I play it on the Vision Pro, where it's just a blown up iPad app. But you know what? It's something, and it's an engaging game on the Vision Pro. But it's not fully 3D. I really want a full 3D racing game for my Vision Pro. I would pay a ludicrous amount of money for that. I would pay full video game like Nintendo $80 price for it just to have it, because it would be incredible. And I can't tell you how many random emails I've sent off to the developers of that game studio to ask them to bring it to Vision Pro properly. But that'd be fantastic. I'm right there with you.
I think Paul's got a feature in product management. Great suggestion. And there's so much they could be doing with the Vision Pro. I mean, imagine driving forward, but turning your head left and right and seeing the video game from that perspective. And you could make that true in so many different gaming scenarios where you're moving in one direction but looking in a different direction. I think that would be super immersive. And you know what they need to do? I don't know if you guys ever saw this. I got to bring this up. So, Disney's always working on technology that could improve or create new Disney experiences. And this might be the closest we ever get to a holodeck. So this is news from a year ago, maybe. Disney has invented this thing that they're calling the HoloTile floor. It's a floor that moves under your feet. It looks like a tiled bathroom floor with like small round tiles. I don't know how this works, but as you're walking, you actually aren't moving anywhere. And dude, you can see in this example. So the guy has like a headset on and he's moving and the tiles are moving. So he's staying in the same place, but he's looking around with his head. This would be absolutely killer. I mean, imagine being able to play a video game this way or more. I think this could be a big thing, is virtual tourism. You could walk through Disney World. You could walk through Joshua Tree. You could walk through Zion National Park. You have this thing on your head. You're walking on a floor that's moving, and you're looking around in 8K. I think that's an experience that people would really enjoy. I think it could be something that's novel and unique for the Vision Pro, because nothing else can do it as well as that headset. But these are the types of innovations Apple has to kind of start figuring out, right? Because like right now, I feel like they've just kind of plopped out Vision Pro and they're waiting for developers to do something with it that that is going to sell the actual hardware. And so far, I haven't really seen that's true. And I think they need to do a better job at maybe creating some of their own innovations on things that you can do that are new and novel with Vision Pro. But for sure, gaming, I think, could be a huge one. Visual tourism or virtual tourism, I think, could be another one. Okay. Let's see here. This one is from Anonymous. Let's hear what Anonymous has to say. Oh, boy. We already know who this is. Every time with the static and the... Every time. Every time.
It's a signature.
Hello, this is the Apple loyalist.
We know. We know. We appreciate you. But what is going on with that static, dude? I really don't know. It's like he is folding his laundry as he's leaving us a message, and like the static from his clothes are like shocking his phone or something.
He pushes the record button so hard that his phone tumbles out of his hands onto the ground every time.
To say great job on the show. Thank you so much for the suggestion that you gave me. And I have an Apple Accessibility podcast for people to check out. It's over by Direct Sounds, and it talks about Apple accessibility. And
Oh, no. He didn't share the name of the podcast, did he? He fumbled. He fumbled before the...
Seems as if there was a catastrophic event.
Yeah, all right. Well, we appreciate the Apple enthusiast as always. If you want to call back and plug your podcast, we'll allow it. But I don't know what's going on with your phone, my friend, but there's something going on with that audio. It's like he lives near like a cell phone tower or like a power line or something that's causing static. Okay, let's move on. This one comes from Intuitom.
Hey guys, it's Intuitom.
Hey. Oh, well.
Happy May the 4th be with you day. Wondering if you guys are into Star Wars, and if so, what's your favorite part of Star Wars? Peace.
Oh, man. That's a loaded question. He's trying to get us to fight with one another, I think. First of all, points for having the Apple chime queued up and to actually get it to work. That means he had to have like two phones there, one to record, or maybe he's doing it on his Mac.
Or maybe he had a Macintosh Quadra 660 AV.
Yeah, probably.
It's sitting right there.
It's just sitting right there. So, feelings on Star Wars, favorite Star Wars movies?
This actually came up in a different Discord that I'm in. Here are my rankings. S tier, Empire Strikes Back. A tier, Star Wars, 1977, and Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens. And then everything else is, you can watch that if you want to, but I don't recommend it. It's pretty simple. I'm an OG trilogy all the way. And, The Force Awakens, it was fun to watch in the theater. I'll admit that. The other movies aren't great, and the prequels aren't worth any attention whatsoever.
Gal, I don't know, man. I'm right with you on Empire Strikes Back. Not just a great Star Wars movie, just a terrific movie. The writing in that movie is some of the best in any movie. In fact, there's always one line that was like, God, it's such a great line. I think it was when Luke was talking to Yoda, and he goes, "Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter." How was that? That was S tier right there. That was such a great line. There was so much good writing in that movie. I'm going to have to disagree with you on the prequels. The prequels were not great. I totally agree. But for some reason, they're oddly nostalgic for me. And maybe because I was old enough to remember them and I was not in diapers when they came out like you were, Griffin.
I remember watching them.
And were you like 2? That's incredible.
I've said this before. I was born in the 90s. I'm older than I look.
Yeah, I know. 96, right? It's like the year before they came out. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. But so for me, I actually really like the prequels just for that reason. I mean, are they good from a movie perspective? No, they're not great. And understandably so. I mean, George Lucas had not, I don't think, made a movie in 25 years when those movies came out. So I don't love them for maybe the obvious reasons. And then, of course, the new Star Wars movies. Such a tragedy, man. I will say, though, Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland in Magic Kingdom. Well, I guess it's not Magic Kingdom. It's Hollywood Studios in Florida. Absolutely incredible. A masterpiece in theme park design. Now, unfortunately, they have themed those areas around the new Star Wars movies, which no one likes. But I think they are learning their lesson. I think they're realizing, and they probably built this knowing that they could pivot at some point if this didn't resonate with fans, because the new trilogy doesn't resonate with fans. And
A lot of younger people like the new trilogy.
that I'm not denying there are people that like it, but I just don't know if enough people like those movies to make them commercially successful, I guess is the problem, right? Because like there's going to be people that like everything. I like the prequels. Do I want to go to Star Wars prequelville? Probably not. Count Dooku, not high on my list of Star Wars characters I want to interact with. And so anyway, yeah, what are you gonna say, Lewis?
I was just say, don't you want us to go like straight to the garbage compactor from the original movie?
That would be cool. In fact, they should build a whole cafe with the garbage compactor
An
like
escape room.
Yeah, or that. And if you don't escape in time, you get squished, right? That'd be cool.
To me, that movie is the original one. To me, is still the best because it was so unbelievably mind blowing. I remember watching that and just going, "What?" I mean, I don't know how I was actually born when that movie came out, unlike some people on this podcast. But me and my cousins, we were just like blown away by it. We were super into it. It's just like nothing we'd ever seen. It's fantastic. And I don't know. I've watched it many times, and the most recent time I was just like, wow, it's so creative and so interesting, and also so kind of schlocky and weird. I mean, it's funny. It's just great, and just everything about it was just great.
And even the two follow movies, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, none of them feel like the original movie. Like every movie in the original trilogy has a completely different vibe, a completely different feeling, completely different settings, completely different aliens. Like that's not how they make trilogies now at all. People watch a sequel and they kind of just want to watch the original one again, but a little different and a little bigger and badder. But no, like all three of those movies are completely different.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the original Star Wars is not something that you can actually watch anymore. I think the last commercial release of like the unadulterated, unchanged Star Wars A New Hope was released on Blu-ray, not Blu-ray, on Laserdisc. Like in like the 90s. And
I will say that there is something you can find online, and
I've heard this too. I've heard this too.
Called 4K77. What this is somebody who actually took like an original theatrical 35 millimeter reel, scanned it in frame by frame, and then like hand paint, like
wow,
digitized
incredible.
it and corrected it, and then packed it into something called 4K77, which you can find at various locations in the high seas.
Illicit hives full of scum and villainy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I wouldn't say that I'm like such a Star Wars purist that it makes me mad that George Lucas went in there and fiddled with things after the fact. And I know there are a lot of people that are, and I totally understand that. But I would like that version to at least be available, right? Like, there's no reason to squash it and send your stormtroopers to every corner of the world looking for illicit copies of the original Star Wars just so you can completely remove those versions from, I don't know, the zeitgeist. I don't know why they don't make both available. Like, just give the people what they want. And knowing Disney, it's like, hey, you can make money if you just sold the original version. And I like some of the alterations they made to the newer updated versions. Anyway, we got to stop there, my friends. We have more, but that's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But if you want to leave us a voicemail, we would love to hear what you have to say. Speakpipe.com/CultCast. Speakpipe.com/CultCast. I got to make a vanity URL. That is not easy to say or remember. I got to come up with something. In the meantime, this has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, for hanging out live. You like those mic tactics? You've never seen anything like it.
I feel like I'm watching Prince in action or something.
Well, my pants have no butt cheeks, Lewis. You should know that.
Whoa!
Thank everyone for hanging out live, for listening. Thank God this went off without a hitch. I can barely believe it. And we'll see you guys next time. It's time for me to drive away in my little red Corvette, Lewis. Did you know my computer's blue? I only put that on after this show, Lewis. I'm going to be changing my name to a symbol. And I'll expect you all to... No, it's airplane. There you go. All right, everyone. May the shorts be with you. Live long and prosper. Hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.